All right, we are here in beautiful sunny Florida, and today, fight fans, I'm going to be breaking down Bellator 179 Daley versus McDonald in, I believe, London, England, and unfortunately, this card did take a hit with Michael Venom Page. I was looking forward to that fight because I thought Derek Anderson was most definitely his toughest challenge to date, although I was going to be picking MVP. So we got a five-card main card here. Honestly, man, I'm pretty much just really looking forward to the main event. A couple other good fights, but I'm really only super looking forward to that main event, man, with the return of Rory McDonald against one of the most exciting fighters in the game today, in Paul Daley, man. So at the end of the video, I'm also going to be talking about a couple cards this weekend other than Bellator 179 that I'm eyeing from a betting perspective. No no UFC this weekend, but three solid MMA events that all are definitely worth tuning into, in my opinion. You got Bellator Friday night, Titan Friday night, and Invicta FC on Saturday night. So I'm briefly going to be talking about Titan and Invicta at the end of this video, but I am going to be breaking down the whole five-card main card here, man. So the odds are out for the top three fights, but I'm going to start from the bottom here. So kicking off the main card, we got Kevin Ferguson Jr., man. Baby Slice is making his sophomore appearance here in Bellator. So he did drop his very first pro fight in Bellator via second round choke submission, and he lost to a guy that's 0-2, man. So I guess there's still quite a bit of problems with Baby Slice's ground game there. He did win his only amateur fight via knockout in the first round. And the guy he's facing here, DJ Griffin, he is going to be making his pro debut. Had three amateur fights. First fight, he won via decision. Second fight, he lost via knockout in the first round. And then his third amateur fight, he lost via submission in the third round. So three fights, no finishes for this guy, 1-2. I don't know much about him at all. If he has any kind of ground game, I definitely think it's going to be a tough fight for Baby Slice. But I think they went ahead and picked out a right opponent for Baby Slice to get that first pro win in. So my official prediction is going to be Kevin Ferguson Jr. via a first round knockout. So like I said, MVP dropped out of the card. So little replacement here, replacement fight here on the main card, man. You got you got Dan Edwards, 14-14, fighting out of England, taking on Alex Lahore, 11-1, fighting out of England. So this dude Alex Lahore, he is 11-1 with 9 finishes, mostly via submission. I watched a tiny bit of tape on him. He doesn't seem to be too impressive. He's kind of a can crusher, but he's got wins over a couple good records like 8-1, 3-0. 4-1, and not terrible. At least he's not fighting guys with like 500 or sub 500 records. But right here, he's facing a guy with a 500 record, 14-4. Based on the little tape I do like Alex Lahore to go out there and submit Dan Edwards probably in the first or second round. So official pick is Alex Lahore via first or second round submission, and that's at 170 pounds, by the way. And the Baby Slice fight is at a 165 pound catch weight. So moving on to the real meat and potatoes of this Bellator card, the top three fights that actually have odds out. First up is a heavyweight fight, man. We got Czech Kongo minus 295 taking on Augusto Sakai plus 215. So this is really interesting to me, man. It's funny, out of all three fights with odds here, this is the fight that I still am definitely considering having a play on the most in two different areas of the fight, man. So I am going to ever so slightly lean with Augusto Sakai here, man, because there's a lot of things to like here. So Czech Kongo, obviously known for his striking back in the day. Nowadays, he's known for his wrestling, man, and he's 42 years old. Pretty old, even in heavyweight standards. That's pretty old. Augusto Sakai, he's 27 years old, man. He is a gigantic, full 265-pound heavyweight, 6'3", just about the same height as Czech Kongo. So this dude Augusto Sakai, he's not the greatest in the world, man. He's probably never going to amount to anything great in the sport, to be honest. He went out there and had a draw in his last fight against Dan Charles, who's typically he's a Bellator jobber, but there's much worse out there than Dan Charles, and Augusto Sakai showed some good things in that fight, but he's just huge and awkward, and he's stuffed takedowns in the past, man. So I think if he can go out there and stuff the takedowns of Czech Kongo, he's so big and awkward. I think he can just give Czech Kongo a very very tough fight, awkward fight. So the thing is, even if Czech Kongo can wrestle Sakai down to the ground, Sakai's got some decent, damn good grappling. I'm not saying he could go out there and submit Czech Kongo off his back, but he could definitely reverse a position. I'm not sure what Czech Kongo has been weighing in at these days, but I would assume that Augusto is going to have somewhere around like 30 pounds on him. So Czech Kongo's been weighing around at 240 pounds as of late. So Augusto Sakai's going to have about 30 pounds on this dude. So you really never know. If this fight stays standing, I think it's going to be a very awkward, slow, shitty fight. That all being said, man, Augusto Sakai being plus 215, I don't think that's enough for me to take the shot just yet. If it gets closer to like plus 230, plus 240, I may go ahead and put the half unit, maybe even the full unit on Augusto Sakai. And another thing I was thinking about possibly having a play on in this fight is the over 1.5 rounds, man. I mean, these guys, they are heavyweights, but I have a hard time seeing a finish here. Like I said, heavyweights, these guys both can hit hard as fuck. So I don't know, man. I'm definitely thinking about a shot on Sakai, and I'm also thinking about the over 1.5 rounds. The over 1.5 rounds is minus 190. I slightly debated just putting one unit on that to win a 0.53, but we'll see, man. I'm definitely going to wait these lines out to see how they go because we're on Wednesday right now. These fights aren't about from 2 days from now, but yeah, man. Moving on to the co-main event here, we got Liam McGeary minus 215 taking on Linton Vassell plus 165. So former champion versus former title challenger here, and this is an interesting one, man. I am I'm kind of solid on Liam McGeary here, although I don't feel comfortable taking that price on him at minus 215. So the thing is, if this fight stays on the feet, I think Liam McGeary, he's got excellent boxing. He's got great reach. I think he can kind of pick Linton Vassell like apart on the feet, man. Linton Vassell was getting rocked all over the place against King Mo. He's a guy that doesn't really have that great of striking. But the thing here with Liam McGeary, man, it seems like he gets taken down in every single one of his fights. But Linton Vassell's not a guy with that great of wrestling, man, so it's tough to say if Linton Vassell goes out there and tries to wrestle Liam McGeary. I think probably he can get him down just based on McGeary getting taken down in like all of his fights. But we know how good Liam McGeary is off his back, man. But the thing is, Linton Vassell, he's a very good submission grappler as well, man. So I'd love to see this fight get to the ground. I think we'd see some excellent scrambles from the two big men here. But honestly, man, I think Liam McGeary takes this one either by probably by decision, or he keeps it on the feet and pieces Linton up and knocks him out. I really don't know. There's a lot of different directions I could see this fight going. I am damn. I don't want to say damn, but I'm pretty solid in Liam McGeary, but something is telling me to stay away from taking him here at minus 215. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to say Liam McGeary via a 30-27 decision, but not confident enough to the point where I'm going to be making a play there. So moving on to the main event, we got Paul Semtex Daley taking on Rory McDonald, man. So interesting fight. I didn't even give you guys the odds on that. Right now, Rory McDonald is a minus 320 favorite. Paul Daley coming in as a plus 260 underdog. And thing is, Rory McDonald is the much more superior martial artist here. Pretty much better everywhere besides the striking. But even when it comes to the striking, man, I think Rory McDonald, he's got all kinds of experience. I mean, Paul Daley's the more experienced guy, but Rory McDonald has more experience at the higher level, I should say. I think he can. I think he can neutralize the big power of Paul Daley and try to utilize those jabs into takedowns and probably wrestle Paul Daley here. But Roy McDonald, we don't know, man. We don't know the whole thing with the nose. Paul Daley packs bombs in his hands. So, as confident as I am that Roy McDonald is the superior martial artist and he should get the win here, I can't trust him, especially at minus 320. So, I'm sorry I have no place here, guys, but this card's honestly just kind of a big pass for me. I don't see much here I like at all. Can't trust Roy at minus 320, and I don't fault anybody at all for taking the shot on Paul Daley. I don't hate that at all. Um, but personally, I am not going to go ahead and do that. A couple lines just moved, man. Lee McGeary just moved down to minus 210, and Augusto Sakai up to plus 225, man. That Sakai line is going the direction I want it to, and the over just dropped to minus 180. So if the lines keep going in that direction, of course, follow my Twitter. If I make any bets, they will definitely be posted on Twitter immediately. Definitely looking at the Sakai over and Sakai, a shot on him himself. But yeah, man, I'm going to go with Rory McDonald via a 30-27 decision here. I think he can just mix up his well-roundedness and outpoint Daley over the course of 3 rounds. But once again, not the level of confidence to where I want to put a play on it because Paul Daley can pack a motherfucking punch, and Rory McDonald, we don't know where his chin's at, we don't know where his nose is at. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just a weird one. And the layoff, man. Rory McDonald hasn't fought in over no, it's not quite a year yet, but 11 months. Man, it feels like he's been gone so much longer than a year. But yeah, Roy McDonald 30-27 is going to be my pick here. So that's going to do it for Bellator 179. Quickly going to talk about another card on that very same night. If you haven't watched my Hardcore's Delight video, I did a full depth breakdown here for Titan FC 44. And I also briefly talked about Invicta FC 23, but I've featured prominently Titan FC 44. So, from a betting perspective here, I talked about 3 fights on the card. The Bruno Mosquito fight. I wouldn't mind having some money on Bruno Mosquito, but the dude, if there is a line on him, he's probably going to be somewhere around minus 500, minus 600. Co-main event, JZ Convocante versus Kurt Hollabaugh. I favor Kurt Hollabaugh on that fight. I think Jay-Z's better days are behind him, and he seems to be on the decline, so I like Hollabaugh to get that submission or decision. And I probably would only bet him at a dog price, and I'm not sure if he's going to be there. But this card is really all about the main event, guys. We got the 2 best fighters in Titan FC, the 125-pound champ challenging the 135-pound champ for the belt. Farkhad Sharipov defending his belt against Jose Shorty Torres. Jose Shorty Torres, probably the best 125-pounder outside the UFC. In my opinion, one of the biggest prospects in MMA overall, regardless of weight class. Now, he's only 4-0, but the kid fights like he's 30-0. So, so the way I see this fight going, if you want to see a little bit more in depth, you can check out my Hardcore's Delight. But Jose Shorty Torres, obviously he's prominently a wrestler. That is his base. That is what he's best at. But the dude can box. He's a very good boxer. And Farkhad Sharipov, he's prominently a kickboxer. He mostly wins his fights via outpointing guys with his kickboxing. And he's got solid takedown defense. So the way I see it, if Jose Shorty Torres can land the takedowns and utilize his wrestling, he's going to go on to a very unanimous 50-45 decision here and capture that belt. If Farkhad Sharipov can stuff the takedowns, because that's a very big possibility, he is the bigger guy coming in here. Former 145-pounder Jose Shorty Torres coming up from 125 pounds. So if Farkhad Sharipov can stuff the takedowns, then I think we're looking at a very close split decision type 5-round striking match. It's tough to say. I would say overall, Shorty Torres, he has better, like his hands are the best thing when it comes to both these guys' striking games, but Farkhad Sharipov has more tools on the feet, if you get what I mean. He's got the kicks, he's got the boxing. Jose Shorty Torres, he's got great hands, man. So even if he can't get the takedowns, I do favor him to win the fight via a closer decision. I'm most likely going to be having a play on Jose Shorty Torres here. I'm hoping he's not too much of a big favorite. It would be very nice if he was the underdog, but I don't see that happening because, if anything, man, it's very unfortunate, but I think Jose Shorty Torres might be an extremely big favorite just because I'm not sure the odds makers really know how good Farkhad Sharipov really is, so they might underestimate him. And man, if Farkhad Sharipov is somewhere around like minus 250, minus 300, man, I might probably it would probably take plus 300. But if Jose Shorty Torres just gets steamed with the betting and he becomes like a minus 500, minus 450, might have to take the shot on Farkhad Sharipov. I'm very interested to see where this line goes. But most likely thing here would be a bet on Jose Shorty Torres. So that's it for Titan FC 44, and then Invicta FC 23 here on Saturday, man. Quickly gonna run through a few of the notable fights. Tiffany Timebomb, Tiffany Van Soos, is making her third try here at MMA, man. She's 0-2. Obviously, if you don't know Tiffany Van Soest, probably the pound for pound best female kickboxer in the world. She's trying MMA, man, but that wrestling and ground game just isn't there for her. But she does have a good opponent here in front of her, and Christine Faria, who also is a striker. She's 1-0. But I think this is the one that third time's the charm. Tiffany Timebomb gets it here. I like Tiffany Timebomb via a first round KO here, but if there's a line on it, don't feel comfortable betting on a 0-2 girl. Andrea KGB Lee is taking on Liz Tracy. I'm sort of high on KGB Lee. She comes out with stinkers sometimes, but usually she loses to super experienced girls like the two girls in the co-main event, Sarah DeLelio and Roxanne Martafari. But everyone else out there, girls like Liz Tracy, she's went out there and smashed. So if the line on Andrea Lee is good enough, like better than minus 250, maybe gonna parlay her up, but we'll see. Two former UFC fighters, Elizabeth Phillips is taking on Kelly Fashholtz in a bantamweight bout. I'm pretty solid on Kelly Fashholtz there. Elizabeth Phillips is kind of trash, man. She's a super jobber. She doesn't even have Juliana Pena over at Sick Jitsu anymore to train with on the regular, so I don't even know who she's training with. I think she loses here to Kelly Fashholtz, because Kelly Fashholtz, man, she did go 0-2 in the UFC, but those were two very good performances in my opinion. She may have lost, but she showed that she's got some talent, and maybe she can work her way back to the UFC. Herika Tiburcio is taking on Tessa Simpson. I think Tiburcio is probably going to be a massive favorite here. She's got very good submission grappling, and Tessa Simpson, the little that I do know about her, she doesn't have the best sub defense, not really the greatest fighter anyway. She is 5-1, so that's not terrible of a record. But I like Herika Tiburcio, and maybe she's parlayable too if the price is right. Then co-main event, like I just mentioned, Roxanne Martafari taking on Sarah DeLelio, two extremely experienced women here in women's MMA. Both kind of on resurgences too. Ever since Tough, Roxanne Martafari's really worked on that striking game, and she can actually go out and outstrike girls now. Sarah DeLelio, ever since dropping to 125 pounds, she's looked pretty damn great. So I like this fight, man. Obviously, neither of these girls are probably going to be the best 125-pounder in the world at any point. I think the possible best 125-pounder in the world could be in that main event. I'll talk about that in a second, but I do ever so slightly Sarah DeLelio here. Probably via decision. And if there's I do like the over in this fight. If there's, I'm sure there will be, but if the price on the over 2.5 rounds is good in this co-main event here, then that's also parlayable, man. But the main event that I was just talking about, girl, I'm very high on, man. 9-0, Agnieszka Nijiewicz, Polish fighter, 9-0. She's got some decent wins in Invicta in Europe. She's only 22 years old. Very good grappler. The striking is on its way. She just got a TKO/KO in her last fight against a 10-1 opponent. I'm high on this girl, man. She's got TKO slash KO wins. She's got submission wins, 9-0 against decent record fighters. I think the sky could possibly be the limit for this girl, Agnisha. She's fighting Vanessa Porto, who's been a very solid staple of 125 pounds in women's MMA for quite a while. But she's getting a little long in the tooth, 33 years old. She lost her last fight to Jennifer Maia, which she was kind of heavily favored in. She could be on the decline here. She doesn't really have the best wins, man. I mean, her most impressive win in like recent years would probably have to be Roxanne Modaffari, which doesn't really say much. She has a submission win over Jermaine De Randami in 2008, but we know how bad Jermaine De Randami's submission defense is. So I don't hold that win in too much. I don't consider it too highly. So I like Agnieszka to go out here and outpoint Vanessa Porto here over 3 rounds. Pretty solid on her 30-27 decision. And if the price is right, also parlayable, man. Yeah, so that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you all so much for watching the video. I'm super excited about the cards we got this weekend. No UFC, man, but I'm big on these regional MMA shows, so I think there's gonna be tons of exciting stuff here. That all 3 cards worth tuning into. So yeah, man. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe for sure, man. Fun shit coming. If you haven't seen the hardcore, just go check that out. And comment below, man. Out of all 3 of these cards, tell me who you guys are eyeing down for a possible bet. But yeah, man, thank you guys all so much for the support. Like the video, just takes 2 seconds. And above all, enjoy the fights.